in the last episode we requested walnuts from a trader. So let's hope we actually well, let's wish for a recording indicator on OBS, and let's play some more Banished. Now I do need to pay attention to this, as we have. I'm a bit surprised here. We are still producing more than we used, food-wise. So the harvest last year kinda saved the saved our balance at the end. However, I think it's a bit iffy. It's a bit risky to go on like that. So we might need to establish some more food sources. Not sure where though. Also, I wanted to get another pasture for sheep, so we have more wool, because I think that's what we are shorter on than we are on leather. Let's see, we have 88 leather and where's wool? 30 wool, so we can still produce some more coats, but not that many. Although, since our tailors seem to not complain about any lack, I think we're good. What I'd be interested in is actually having more mutton, because that is something we might need. It's just meat, you know, and more food doesn't hurt. I still believe that most of this game is about managing your food. That's why you have so many different kinds of food. Yeah, as I said, this game really, I think it strikes a good balance between having a ridiculous amount of complexity when it comes to certain resources like food, and keeping it simple, like with tools. I mean, remember the Settlers 2? You actually gave your blacksmith a probability list. So you gave him... He was constantly churning out tools, and you gave him a list of, like, make it 50% shovels, 10%, I don't know, pickaxes, and 30% scythes and all that stuff. Dismiss. It usually ended up, well, most of the time I didn't run short on the tool I wanted at that point. But there were times when I was kind of annoyed because I really didn't get the tool I needed. For example, I was really in need of more miners, so I wanted pickaxes to be produced, and he just wouldn't do that in time. And I think this generic tool approach is better here, because you have a fair amount of professions, and giving each of those an own tool would be a pain in the arse. And it would be frustrating because you'd have to switch those around, and it would also take away some of the flexibility you have with this system. Because right now I can make my farmer a fisherman, or a builder, or a blacksmith, or a brewer, and he'd go about that right away. As opposed to if I had to have the right tools for them, I would have to have my farmer go back to the tool shed, hand in his scythe or whatever he's been using, then have him pick up another tool, which I of course would have to have in store, and then go to his workplace, which would be annoying. And let's say you were short on a certain amount of tools, but you needed those workers for some reason. Let's say you had only 5 farmers, and suddenly you need 60 because you realize, oh crap, my crops are overgrowing, and winter is about to head in. What am I going to do? And at that point you might want to really have you would have a lot of scythes you would have to have those sites stored. In this case, however, we luckily don't have to, so we can just tell everybody to go on the fields and harvest. That was confusing. Okay. So I'm gonna have an eye on the food here. I usually should do that if I drop below 10,000. That's my personal limit, because 10,000 food is still quite a lot unless you have a very large town. So you do get a general idea of what is, or you have about 1 or 2 years to sort out the food production. You should also note that it's not something you can fix immediately. Like, a change there will not affect you. If I build 3 fields, I will not see any food for a whole year, unless of course I build them right in winter or spring. Then I will still have I might still have the crops this year, but I will most often not see the full effect of that until the next year, because of course, unless it was really built in winter, the field will not be started in early spring. Instead, it will be started whenever it's ready, and yeah, so they will have less time to cultivate it. Of course, it might still be enough time, but you really can't tell. Also, look at those apple trees going. They are not going anywhere. Okay. I don't like those. I mean, those have not been producing that much. I just like having them around for the sake of, well, having them. Not sure why those produce peppers. That is very unusual for a plum orchard, but I guess it was just because one of the farmers decided he would rather grow peppers instead of doing that. Maybe he'll supply YouTubers with them. Maybe we grow the hottest pepper in the world, although I don't think we would. Not sure what you need in order to actually produce a very, very ridiculously hot pepper. Let's add a teacher here. I'm not sure what he's going to teach. It's going to be a very depressing job. I had one of those teaching jobs at some point. It was a pretty well paid job. Didn't complain about that. I got $10 per hour for that even before I actually before we had minimum wages, so that was great. What wasn't great were the students, because they were not motivated, and you do realize that, and you do notice that, especially because it was the entire job was sort of a it was in a middle school. Middle school is the I suppose medium way of education in Germany. You have the gymnasium, which is the higher education. It allows you to go to university afterwards, or you can just get higher jobs, like higher trainee jobs and stuff. Then you have middle school, which is kind of middle way, and then you have let's say lower schools that are for the not so quick of mind, usually. And of course, those people have it a bit harder to get a good job in life. However, I was working in a school that was, I think it was both a middle school and one of those lower schools. So yeah, you had children who don't really like going to school that much, because that's a general trend I've noticed. Pretty hard to miss, actually. If you have that, and if you oh wow, look at those guys. If you're not good in school, and it kind of adds up. Like, the teachers won't like you that much, you won't like the teachers that much. It seesaws up. It resonates, and you don't like going to school. You then start hating all the teachers, and it goes downhill from there. And yeah, that's just a problem. And obviously, why do you get all the livestock merchants? And yeah, it's bad. It's quite bad. And those students I was supposed to take care of also were very, very, very unmotivated. We don't have walnut seeds. Well, damn. Do you have stones? You do not. However, you will get a chance to supply me with walnut seeds. Just this once, and now bugger off. We don't want anything from you. I'm not going to buy any food just yet. I will if I realize we're going to be heading towards a famine. Then I'll buy everything, but right now I want to see if we can produce enough on our own. Because that's my big concern now. I don't want to rely on having a trader every year with just the stuff I need. Let's have more miners here. What did I just add? I could also add traders or something like that, but those don't produce anything. And I generally feel that one trader per dock is enough in most cases. Like, I never really have a shortage of traders. I mean, sometimes, yes, like earlier, I do need to move a large amount of things to the dock in a rather quick fashion. But that's more of an exception than a rule, because you usually have a few seasons between traders at least in one dock. So this dock won't receive 3 traders a year. They will go here, one here, and here. So yeah, this guy has a lot of time to move the stuff I want him to move. And he generally does it. Also, we'll have to see how this goes when when those houses are finished. They are finished now. So we are precariously low on food again. And the pasture has developed an infestation. This one. Is it this one? Yep, it's this one. So it will have to be emptied. Crap. Okay, everything has to be butchered here. And I think we can have sheep again on this. But I'm not entirely sure. Also, if someone would kill those already, that would be great. Okay, so where was I? Right. And yeah, because the students were, or the pupils were really unmotivated and didn't want to go to school, I sometimes had pretty much empty rooms to teach, which was kind of boring. I still got paid, so that was okay, but it still bothered me because I was actually taking the time. I was driving through the city for an hour, well, half an hour there, half an hour back. It's still an hour of traveling just to read a newspaper in an empty room. So, has died of weak heart. That's a new one. I'm not sure why that happened. But apparently it's worth an own death, so who knows? Maybe it's something that we could have prevented somehow, but I'm not sure how. Anyway, can you kill those already? We'll probably split this pasture here, so yeah, once this infestation is over, we'll split that. And then we'll not get as much mutton again as we would have made in another time. Or as we would have gained otherwise. I really like the storage barn density here. I mean, this seems to be doing quite well. We have a barn here, we have one here. I'm really pleased with that, actually. Let's add 2 more miners. Although I should probably keep more laborers in stock because we have a bigger base amount of people that could die. I'm also tempted to make one blacksmith solely crafting iron tools, just to keep everybody supplied. Let's do that. Okay, this is almost over. What are you having? You are a food merchant. I don't want any of that. I should have probably bought some, but I didn't feel like doing that. Okay, it's about 12. However, it's okay, we have lots of people dying of old age, and I think I'll have to remove one of those again. I think it would be a good idea to not touch the labor count until it hits 5 again. 2 is a pretty reasonable count at the early game, when you only have like up to 50 people, because usually not that many of them die at once. Okay, this seems like the infestation is over. Usually you'd actually go and disinfect everything, but we'll just go back up here and split that. And hope this won't develop an infestation right away again. Also, it's time to break off the episode. We are making food again, and we'll see how we're doing in winter, when the harvest is over. Right now we should be a bit on the lower side. Yeah, we are using more than we produce, just slightly, but we have a bit left on the field. In fact, quite a bit left on the field, so this might still turn out okay. I mean, this is a reasonable lot, so I'm not too worried about this. I'm a bit worried about this because I think we need a barn over here. This is a bit too far away. So let's do this before we clock out for the episode. I want a storage barn right over there. Or there. No, let's put it here. Okay, so this is it feels pretty optimized now. And we can squeeze houses in there as well. Oh, let's build a road. Okay, so we have another barn here, which cuts down the ways back and forth for those people, which I think is great. It should work out really well next year. And I'll see if I need any other barns. I mean, they're easy to just slap down, and they're pretty good drop-off points if you don't try to supply your people from them. I don't want to build a market like right here, because markets are flipping huge. Just look at that, it's huge. And yeah, I don't need those people to supply from the barn. I just want this to be a drop-off point for people who come from this field, so they don't have to walk that far and they can harvest quicker. Which means we'd lose less produce every year. And I think we can all agree that that's a good thing. And with that, we are going to sign out here, and I'll see you all next time. Bye!